Hey, what's going on, everyone? I don't know who is going to join me tonight. There are multiple live streams going on right now, from everything to fanboy, science fiction and superheroes and movies and media, to chalk talks, to all kinds of things. So I normally do these on Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings, but this is a holiday weekend, and I am in upstate New York. And I was thinking about doing something yesterday, but when you're with family and your mother needs help with something, well, some things take precedent. So I wanted to get in one last live stream here, to end out the year, to thank everybody, and to highlight one other thing. So here we are. So yeah, I'm going to share this over on my original channel. I don't intend to talk long. If someone comes through and wants to come up and join me, I will open it up. I see I have one individual here right now. Please let me know who's watching if you feel comfortable doing so. Let me make sure I can see myself on YouTube. The fact that you are there means that this is transmitting to the YouTube server. All right, there is the red icon, and there is that scientific image that I took from an IoT blog post. All right, so let me. And no matter how long you stay, please smash that like button. Oh, it's the equalizer. The equalizer. What you doing here, man? And you're not over on Art New Styles panel. Of course, I'm glad you're here, but I'm surprised to see you over here. Okay, so let me see. Okay, there's me. Let me share this over on my main antenna, and then I will go ahead and jump in. I hope everyone has had a good holiday season. We're technically in the middle of it because the holiday season, well, no, the holiday season is bracketed by Thanksgiving and then Christmas and then the New Year. So we're at the tail end of it, but I hope everyone's had a good holiday season. For me, the time always flies by too fast. I got here to upstate New York last Monday, and I really wanted to make sure the time lasted. But this time of year, when you're with family, it flies by. So hopefully everyone has had time with their families. Okay, why is this doing this? And whenever you go back to your workplace, you're feeling rejuvenated and rested. Okay, let me give that a like. Okay, create post. Okay, that's been shared. Okay, the equalizer says, and I appreciate that, equalizer. Your acumen, your razor sharp, man. So I always, it's an honor to be in your presence and to listen to you talk about the financial world and whatever else is on your mind. He says, I'm here for your thoughts about any scientific trends for 2025. Okay, let me not belabor this. Let me switch this back. Okay, so I'm going to take us out with my Cheryl E. Pons intro. Cheryl is the CEO of Dive Tech Corporation. They do electric cars. They set up electric charging stations. So I'm going to play that intro, and then I'm going to jump in. And if anyone wants to come up and talk, I'll let it go for a little bit, and then I'll stop. Dr. Dunbar, why do you have a chemistry chart on your chest?
So Anwar, I see you have the periodic tables on your chest.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that all about? Why are you walking around with a chemistry chart on your chest?
Well, Cheryl, so this channel is a STEM channel. So when I was conceiving of it and figuring out how to grow it, I figured I should have some t-shirts to go with it. So the periodic table is critical to most of the scientific fields. Welcome to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. Science and technology are all around us, all of the time, and there are always science and technology stories to tell. There are always science and technology stories to tell. Okay. Well, one thought, Brother Equalizer, is that I was watching a someone else's channel last night, and apparently, well, there may be another contagion brewing over on the continent of Africa. I don't know a lot about it, but this particular content creator was a little bit disturbed over the fact that there may be another contagion gaining strength, which may put us back into where we were in 2020 to 2021, 2022. So I don't know a lot about that. I have to take a look at it. But that's something that I've heard. So everybody, welcome back to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. My name is Dr. Anwar Yusuf Dunbar, and over here I talk about science and technology. Sometimes I'll talk about the topics of the day, whatever's relevant in the science world and in our world in general. And in some instances, I will interview people. And coming to the end of this year, I'm considering guests for next year. Well, next year is upon us. And look out. I think you guys there in the chat, you guys know who Theo Waff is. He's a tech guy, and he teaches coding. I'm a biological scientist, so I'm not familiar with coding and what all goes into coding. But Theo is he's doing some great work, and he informally agreed to come to my platform in 2025. So look out for that. And then there are some other people in the climate space that I want to talk to. But most of I haven't live streamed here, I think, since Thanksgiving weekend. And most of my energy has been devoted, most of my bandwidth has been devoted to finishing this. My book project, The Engineers, the Western New York Basketball Story. Snowman, this might make for a fun topic for us to discuss on your platform. But this is writing a book, a 419-page book is a gargantuan task for a first timer. And it used up most of my bandwidth for the fall. So that's what I've been doing. But this is available on Amazon. Quick plug. It's available on Amazon. And it's a story about what sports teach you as a young person about life, success, and failure. And a lot of these lessons I learned on the basketball court in high school. I took those lessons into my graduate studies, and those lessons helped me out throughout adulthood, but definitely during my graduate studies, where there was the feeling of quitting every day, quitting, giving up, throwing your hands up in the air. When you're working on something meaningful, you have to know when to stay in the fight and how to persevere. Well, basketball taught me that, even though I didn't go on to become one of the $1 million athletes that Snowman covers on a daily basis. Okay, and in case you guys didn't notice, I'm wearing this is a Star Trek science officer shirt. On the original series, the blue shirts were the scientists, Mr. Spock, and the medical professionals like Dr. McCoy. And I think on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the blue themed officers were the science and medical related Starfleet officers. So if you're wondering what this is, that's the Starfleet symbol. I was a Trekkie growing up, and I still am. All right. Snowman says, okay, Lavaris, yes. So there was another content creator last night I was looking at, and he said that there's something potentially brewing. Until I know more, I won't, go too far down that rabbit hole, but that's something that's happening now. At dinner a couple of hours ago, we were talking about the drones over New Jersey. What are the drones? We were talking about aliens. We were talking about all kinds of things. Snowman says, hey, Snowman checking in. Snowman, I hope you're feeling better. I saw your post over on Facebook. I hope you're feeling much better than you were a couple of days ago. He says, name the time and the place and we'll do it. Okay. Well, Snowman, I'll probably have to send you a courtesy. I'll probably have to send you a courtesy copy, but let's put that on the list for 2025. Snowman says, I'm in the process of writing a book myself. Okay, well, we can, if you have any questions or about anything, if you're self-publishing it, perhaps I can be of service and you can pick my brain. He says, Master Yao, Lavara says, yep, Cousin T-Taw would be a great interview as well. He knows a lot of science. That's right, Cousin T-Taw does. Snowman says, doing much better. Okay, guys, so in end of the year stream, I just wanted to thank everybody who supports this channel. Again, this is usually on in the morning time slot, but I couldn't do it yesterday because of family commitments. So I'm just going to briefly run through the topics that I've covered this year. I've covered quite a few topics. I'm not going to screen share this. I'm just going to look at it and just run through because it would be cool to review. When you sit down and think about all the work that you've done, you don't always realize it, what you've covered, what you've done. But I've actually done quite a bit of work here. Let's see. So let me go to my lives first. And if there are topics you guys want to hear about in 2025, let me know. Snowman, maybe we could do you are if I recall correctly, a pancreatic cancer survivor. Maybe me and you could huddle up here and talk about that. Of course, I'd give you a little honorarium for doing that. But if you guys have topics that you want to hear about over here in the science and technology space, let me know. Okay, so this year, what did I do this year? Okay, so I had Dr. Patrick Dix back in January. We talked about automation and machine learning. I talked about synthetic cannabis. Let's see, the ABCs of artificial intelligence. I talked about the carbon dioxide coalition. Okay, the environment thing that's pretty big. That's going to be big going forward. And there is a carbon dioxide coalition, which argues that carbon dioxide is actually good for life on this planet. I did something on the signs and symptoms of dementia. If you're not dealing with that personally yourself, you may know someone who is going to develop dementia. I have a relative right now, and we're concerned that this person is developing dementia. And I think that was inspired by Wendy Williams, talk show host Wendy Williams. LeVar says, I have a quick question. Do you think there is such thing as a four? Oh boy, you're going pretty hardcore physics here, LeVar. She says, I have a quick question. Do you think there is a such thing as a fourth dimension, a fifth dimension, and higher dimensions that are unseen by our limited senses and views? You know, if you believe in religion, then certainly you believe in other realms and other planes of being, spirit realms, where our souls go after they leave this corporeal realm. Some people believe in reincarnation. Yeah. You know what, Lavaris? I'm going to have to look some more into that. But I do believe that, I mean, if you believe in God, if you believe in a creator, then you believe that we are on an earthly plane here and there's someplace else. So I do believe that there is someplace else, but I'm not 100% certified and fluent on the fourth and fifth dimensions at this time. But I do think that there is a higher dimension than this one than we're perceiving around us. Okay, good question. Keep them coming. Okay, dementia. You may have it at some point, and if you don't, someone around you may have it. I covered dementia. Let's see. I interviewed the valedictorian, the 2024 valedictorian from my alma mater, Johnson C. Smith University. Let's see. We talked about antinatalism and why we should care. Population is probably the issue of our time in this country right now and in the world. Not Donald Trump. It's population and the danger of there not being enough people to support society in the years to come. So there is a group called antinatalists who think that having children is evil. Okay. We know that the environmentalists think that there may be too many humans on the planet and that we are killing the planet. Other scientists would argue against that, but there are antinatalists who think that having children is immoral and that it is that it causes more harm than good. Okay, so I did a stream on antinatalism. That's a topic all in itself. I did a stream here. Got a tepid response. Are islands disappearing into the oceans? If not, then why? Okay, that deals with increasing sea level, and what we're being told is that the seas are rising and rising and rising, and everything's going to get engulfed. But I read an article in the New York Times that said islands are not disappearing, and islands have ways of regenerating themselves so that they don't disappear under the oceans. Okay, let's see. What is fracking? Okay, I did that in September. That was during the election season. Madam Vice President Kamala Harris reversed her position on fracking, okay, because energy impacts everything in our country, whether it's doing live streams, whether it's running your hospitals, whether it's having the power and electricity to power athletic arenas where your basketball games and your NFL games and your college football games are taking place, or whether you're a passport bro and you're flying overseas. Everybody needs energy. So I we need energy to deliver food, okay, to our supermarkets and to drive our cars up and down the interstate. So energy. So I did a live stream on fracking. Okay, that was during the election season. Let's see. I did something on the rise of the machines and AI proofreaders. That's when I was proofreading my book or trying. Let's see. I did something on the future nuclear power. Okay, the future is nuclear. Amazon and Google right now, they are setting up their own nuclear facilities to power their operations. So nuclear power is going to be huge going forward into the future. So she asked about my thoughts about the future. Well, we're going to see more nuclear power sources. Okay. What else? Let's see. Black men's health and colonoscopies. This year, I got my very first colonoscopy. So I didn't do a follow-up to it, but I did talk about colonoscopies and colorectal cancer and how Black people in this country, we have the highest incidence of colorectal cancer, but Black men, we have more incidences of colorectal cancer than Black women, which is why it's essential for us to get colonoscopies, especially if you have a family history of colorectal cancer. I got mine. I did mine in October. The hardest part was the prep, taking the laxative, but the procedure itself was pretty straightforward. So, the thought of someone putting a scope up my rear end was kind of disconcerting. But again, the prep, the laxative aspect, cleaning my GI tract out, that was the hard part. And then the actual procedure was pretty easy. And I do have to go for a follow-up about something minor that the doctor wants to take another look at. But colonoscopies and colorectal cancer, I did something on that. I did a live stream on Margaret Sanger and eugenics. Okay, Margaret Sanger was the mother of abortion. The Black community has been hit hard by abortion. That was an issue. That was a major talking point in the election, as Madam Vice President Harris was really, really arguing for reproductive rights. Michelle Obama was arguing for reproductive rights. Tim Walz was telling us, mind your own business. Whatever a woman talks about with her doctor, mind your own business. So that was a major talking point on the Democratic side. So I did a live stream on Margaret Sanger and abortion, the pill, and eugenics. Almost done here, guys. And then Aqua Tofana, that was inspired by Dr. Tiasan Johnson, who is a Black masculinist. I think all of you in the chat know who Dr. Tiasan Johnson is. But for those of you who don't know, Dr. Tiasan Johnson is a Black masculinist who advocates for Black men and boys. And Dr. Tiasan Johnson created content and covered some of the reaction to election 2024. And there were some young ladies online who were calling for the use of Aqua Tofana, which is a poison that was created in Italy for wives who wanted to kill their husbands. I believe the key poison was arsenic and maybe lead. It's in my library, but I did a live stream on Aqua Tofana, and then in April I interviewed a gentleman named Lee Phillips, who is a physicist, and he is a writer as well. And I have to upload the last part, the ending of that interview. So that's my year in review on this channel. That's content I've created while watching content on other channels. Okay. Okay. So Lavaris asked about the fourth and the fifth dimension. Lavaris says, I have an article by a computer scientist I can reference, but I can't post a link. The computer scientist has a website. Lavaris, give me a second. Let me give you guys wrenches. I'm pretty bad about the guys who come over here all the time. They have wrenches. Black Wealth and Power. You have a wrench. Lavaris, you now have a wrench. Snowman's probably watching football right now. You have a wrench. So UFO Kamikaze, you've been here for a while, so you have a wrench yourself. Walaya 3R, welcome. You have a wrench. Okay. If anyone wants to make an end of the year donation, my Cash App and PayPal are here. as soon as Microsoft Word acts right. Okay, so that's there. And before I get to my main thing, that's not going to be long, I want to make these a little more fun in 2025. So I found quite a few science shorts on here. So let's watch one or two science shorts, and then I'll talk about David Stewart, and then I'll drop the link if someone wants to come up and give their 2 cents or talk about something or introduce something. Then I'll leave some time for that. But let's take a look at two or three science shorts. These are only a minute, and that's to make this a little more fun for you guys. Let's see. Where is it? Okay, that's a couple years ago when I spilled tea on my computer. Okay, I have to separate my shorts from other people's shorts. Let's do this one first. Okay, part of science is critical thinking. What would you guys do if you were faced with this puzzle? Fair use, fair use.
Can figure out how to remove the red string in no time. Quick thinker.
Sorry about that. Fair use.
Can figure out how to remove the red string in no time, but someone who doesn't enjoy thinking might spend all day without finding the solution. This little puzzle is a classic test of a child's intelligence. Most people naturally try to follow the circular path with the string, but they get stuck at the small ring near the exit. A more creative approach might involve pushing the string through the ring's center and pulling, but the beads at the end block the way again. It looks simple, but the design is surprisingly smart. So, how do you get the string out? This puzzle tests your ability to think outside the box and adjust quickly. Watch carefully. When the string reaches here, switch direction and move upward under the small ring. Pinch the string and pass it through the gap at the bottom, then circle it around the loop. Now the string slips right out. Isn't that clever? How about a round of applause?
I'll do that one more time. Do that one more time. Fair use.
A quick thinker can figure out how to remove the red string in no time, but someone who doesn't enjoy thinking might spend all day without finding the solution. This little puzzle is a classic test of a child's intelligence. Most people naturally try to follow the circular path with the string, but they get stuck at the small ring near the exit. A more creative approach might involve pushing the string through the ring's center and pulling, but the beads at the end block the way again. It looks simple, but the design is surprisingly smart. So, how do you get the string out? This puzzle tests your ability to think outside the box and adjust quickly. Watch carefully. When the string reaches here, switch direction and move upward under the small ring. Pinch the string and pass it through the gap at the bottom, then circle it around the loop. Now the string slips right out. Isn't that clever? How about a round of applause?
If we transferred all of our...
Darn it. Yeah, that was a fun exercise, right, guys? I had to watch that a couple times. I had to watch that a couple times before I saw how they were doing that, or how to solve that one. Okay, let's do one or two more. Slick Rick. Okay, Slick Rick is here with his flamethrower. He says, Doc, you really should go research Dubois' writings on Planned Parenthood. Margaret Sanger wasn't even thinking about Black folks. It was Dubois who advocated for Planned Parenthood for Black folks. Well, Slick Rick, thank you for that. W.E.B. Du Bois, he is typically not associated with Planned Parenthood. So thank you for introducing that. That is a valuable piece of Black history. And Black history is coming up in 2 months. That means W.E.B. Du Bois had a huge hand in the large number of abortions, or starting the legacy of abortion in the Black community. Okay, thank you for that. I'll take a look at that. All right, one more short. Let's do a little bit of astronomy. Fair use.
If we transferred all of Earth's water to the moon, the results would be visually staggering from Earth. However, unlike Earth, the moon is tidally locked, meaning it always shows the same face to us. This results in a permanent tidal bulge, where the water would gather and be held by Earth's gravitational pull, creating a constant elevated mound of water, about 2,169 meters high on the side facing us. This unique and permanent water feature would make the moon utterly breathtaking.
All right, let's do this one. This one is interesting. Okay, this one. Okay, this one is interesting. This one involves rodents, and I don't know. It's kind of a monkey see, monkey do type thing, and I think this is probably, I don't know why they did this experiment, but it makes you ask things about humans. Okay, let me show you this one, then I'll move on. Fair use.
This old man was cutting down the biggest tree.
We'll do that one more time. One more time. I promise, and that's it. This is the world's most amazing homemade mousetrap idea.
This old man was cutting down the biggest tree in his county.
All right. The fascinating thing is, all the mice kept following the others in. Okay, Slick Rick says the so-called racist statements in Sanger's magazine about Black folks were quotes from Du Bois, including about getting the Black preachers involved. Oh, wow. Well, Slick Rick, whose ever idea it was that's a very sinister idea to get clergymen involved in this. Okay. LeVar says, what attracts the mouses? I don't know. There was a food substance right there on the edge of that top, but whatever the case, they all just decided to go in. Okay. I'm going to show something really, really quick. I'll drop the link if someone wants to come up. If someone wants to come up, if no one wants to come up, then I'll just stop the stream. So, Professor of Black Ops, Cybersecurity for the People. We talked about this over on my original channel. I was scrolling through X, and I came upon this individual here. So I guess we're piggybacking on Slick Rick with a little Black history. Someone posted this, okay, here. And it says, I didn't know this because I'm not in tech. It says, reminder, the richest Black American is not a gender fluid degenerate from the entertainment industry or a buffoon who plays sports. He's a tech leader married to another FBA sister who wears cowboy hats and rooted in the black belt. Okay, so this is from Yahoo Finance. America's richest black person is a tech entrepreneur worth $11.4 billion. All right, a tech entrepreneur. IT entrepreneur David Stewart is the wealthiest African-American man in the nation. According to Forbes, his net worth is at a record $11.4 billion, making him part of the only 1% of black entrepreneurs or executives on the impressive list. Okay, so it's not an athlete, it's not an entertainer, it's this tech entrepreneur, David Stewart. Akwateki is here. Akwateki, thank you for stopping through. Okay, we're going to read a little bit more about Mr. Stewart, and then I'm done. I'll drop the link if anybody wants to come up and give their 2 cents or ask any scientific questions or just whatever. I'll let it go for a little bit, but if not, then I'll just wrap the stream up and, we'll just proceed towards 2025. All right. Let's learn some more about this black billionaire in tech. And this is from Forbes. Okay. David Stewart, $11.4 billion. That is his real-time net worth as of December 29th, 2024. All right. And when I read this, it's going to sound eerily similar to Robert F. Smith. And in some ways, it may sound similar to Reginald F. Lewis. Okay. From the editor, David Stewart is the founder and chairman of IT provider Worldwide Technology. Stewart grew up in the segregated South with 7 siblings. His father worked as a mechanic, janitor, and trash collector. After graduating from Central Missouri University, he worked in sales for the Missouri Pacific Railroad, Union Pacific, and FedEx before co-founding Worldwide Technology in 1990. Okay. In the early days, Stewart sometimes went without a paycheck and once watched his car get repossessed from the office parking lot. Today, he is the majority owner of the $20 billion sales company whose customers include Citi, Verizon, and the federal government. Stewart donated $1.3 million to the University of Missouri St. Louis in 2018 to create the David and Thelma Stewart Institute for Jazz Studies. Okay, so a lot of money in tech. There's a lot of money in tech, hence one of the importances in what guys like DOF are teaching. And I do intend to interview Theo in 2025. But I'm going to drop the link. If somebody wants to come up, I will entertain for a little bit and then I'll wrap the stream up. If nobody wants to come up, then yeah, I just want to come on and do one last stream and thank everybody. I appreciate the traction and the viewership I get over here. Science topics aren't always the most sexy topics, but they are important nonetheless. So I'm going to drop this here. And if you guys have more questions or comments for me, I'll stay and entertain for a little bit longer. Let's see. Okay, that's been pinned to the chat. Slick Rick. Lavaris says, in your opinion, do you think there has been any scientific progress in the year 2024? Has there been any scientific progress? Well, Lavaris, at every research institution, whether it's the University of Michigan or Georgia Tech or Harvard or Stanford or Louisiana Tech, there are experiments in labs of all kinds being conducted around the clock. So there's always scientific progress taking place. Now, whether that translates into something else, that's different. But there's always research going on. There's always innovation going on. There's always something coming out of the pipeline. Slick Rick said, so he didn't donate to an HBCU. You know what, Lavaris? This kind of makes me think about the drones over New Jersey. Why are they doing that? Whoever's doing that, why were they doing that? Are they testing something? Is something being tested? So yeah, there's progress all around us all the time taking place. Let's see. Slick Rick, it does not look like that he donated to an HBCU, at least not thus far. From what I read, he doesn't have ties to any of the HBCUs. Slick Rick is laughing. Lavara says HBCUs don't focus on tech. The Equalizer says Don Peebles is a rich / wealthy, parentheses, a few 100 million shy of $1 billion, Black real estate developer. Yep, Don Peebles. He's been in the game for a while, and he is a big dog in terms of wealth. Okay, here we go. Slick Rick says, I was trolling. HBCUs are trash. Hey, Slick Rick, I have my bachelor's degree from an HBCU. So careful. All right. Yeah, the link is there, guys. If anybody wants to come, I'll keep reading your comments for a little bit. If not, if you don't want to come up, you don't have to. Lavara says, do you think certain agencies hold back scientists from releasing their inventions that could benefit society in the name of capitalism? You know what, Lavara? Yes, I do think that. I do think that if you think about pharmaceutical companies, tech companies, aerospace companies, the scientists there are all creating intellectual property. But because they work for those private sector companies, all of that intellectual property is confidential. So they can't, if you're working at Pfizer, if you're working at Lockheed Martin, or what's the other one, or Boeing, you might have come up with the most novel widget, but because you created that in their labs, they own it. So you can't just release it to the public. The same thing goes with Pfizer. You might have come up with a cure for AIDS, or you might have come up with a cure for something else. But because it's being researched by that company wants to make a profit for it, so you just can't release it and give it to everybody. That's an unfortunate part of this thing, unless you're Bruce Wayne or Tony Stark and you could do your own experiments and you own the research and the results. That's a good question. Let's see. Lavaris says funding. No, Equalizer says funding. Slick Rick says no disrespect, Doc. None taken, Slick Rick. I know who you are. I know how you get down. I'm gonna show you. Let's see, one other thing here. My brother was talking about this. We're all interested in stocks and maybe getting rich one day before we die. And my brother is pretty excited about this. Oh, I just lost it. Hold on. Forward. Okay. Hey guys, this is my new Iron Man, my new Iron Man doll. I saw this on the clearance aisle at Ollie's. I used this in the thumbnail, in the image from my community post yesterday saying I can't stream this morning. My mother wanted to go to Ollie's for something, and I saw this guy sitting on the clearance rack. I thought he was cool, so I picked him up at a discount. So, but I think that's the Model 1 Iron Man suit. So, just waiting for Gmail here. Okay. Keep your eyes on this. And again, I have to credit my brother Amal for this because I there's no way I can pay attention to everything. But apparently, Salchi, well, at least from a investing perspective, this is a hot stock to buy, according to my bro. But electric aerial ride sharing. This is called Joby Aviation. And my brother was talking about flying cars, but to me, this doesn't look like a flying car. When I think of a flying car, I think of Back to the Future. I think of the Time Machine on Back to the Future. But this looks like a flying, it's like a helicopter to me because it has those propellers. Well, let me scroll down a little bit. We'll take a look at this. Electrical aerial ride sharing. So we may start to see more of this, but I imagine only wealthy people will be able to take advantage of this until the technology becomes less expensive and more widespread. Okay, there's an example of one of those vehicles right there. Let's see. So, yeah, so apparently they're doing this right now in the New York City metropolitan area. So you can fly from a downtown heliport to JFK Airport very quickly. Okay. So a car would take 49 minutes for that trip from downtown to JFK Airport. That would take 49 minutes. For this aerial car, it'll take 7 minutes. All right. Quiet as a conversation. Yeah, to me, looks like a helicopter. Okay. So this may be the new thing right here. Okay. You'll see Salchi flying around in those things, when he's going to his business meetings. All right. Let's see. Lavara says, Aquatechy says, energy companies come to mind. Where's the viable fusion reactors and super batteries, technologies that are perpetually 5 to 10 years away? Slick Rick says, or they will call ivermectin horse medicine because they can't make a profit off of it. Okay, that name was being thrown around during the World Health Crisis. Let's see, at Aquatechy, Lavara says, nice pickup. Slick Rick says, nuclear energy is the way to go, but the baby boomers are too scared of it. Yeah, the first iteration of the Iron Man suit. Okay. And then Lavaris says Google is coming out with AI glasses. I'll have to find the video. And then Slick Rick says boomers are traumatized by the duck and cover drills in their youth. The duck and cover drills in their youth. Lavaris says, here is the video of Google's AI glasses. So that's another thing that's on the horizon. I mean, I think we're going to see, yeah. I mean, I think those virtual glasses are already out, right? So we'll probably see a lot more of that, a lot more virtual reality. I think we're going to see a lot more of that going forward. Also, I think it's time in 2025, it's time for me to start looking at artificial womb technology. I think that's something that's coming. Artificial womb technology, because if you have a population that's collapsing, a human population that's collapsing, and if you have men and women increasingly not getting along, where are the babies going to come from to keep society going? So I think our government leaders, maybe they've seen this coming, and I think in 2025 I'm going to explore artificial womb technology. I've been thinking about it, but it's just been on the back burner. But it's time. What's going on, Salchi?
Everything's good. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good, because I'm on my wireless. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's trash.
Mm-hmm.
The headphones. There's good topics so far. I think came through because I knew he was gonna put some hot fire on today.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, as the virus was stating with the uh, Jesus, with the energy. I mean, I was saying this. I know I said it on BGS's one of his lives like 2 years ago. I was like, listen, things are gonna have to go nuclear. And of course, people disagree with me. I said, well, I mean, with all the tech that's coming out, there isn't anything at this moment. There's nothing even close. There's nuclear, and then there's oil. There's nothing that all the other alternatives combined. They don't equate to any one of those two. Not even close. They barely scratch it. So, I mean, unless people want to, stay where we are, which that's not going to happen, we don't have to go nuclear, and it's safer overall. It's much safer than what people think it is, because people don't do their homework. I'm not here to say whether we should or shouldn't do it. I'm just saying, based on the energy that we need, especially with AI, just AI alone, let alone what it's trying to take us with, even with 5G and 6G. China been working on 6G for who knows how long, integrating virtually everything. Yeah, you're gonna need energy. The stuff we got right now is just not enough, especially in America. Sorry to tell people, I know we're a first world country, but our infrastructure is not as good as it should be, in my opinion, for a first world country. Just isn't.
Okay. I forgot about 5G and 6G. That's just going to keep getting faster and
Hmm.
more complex and more exotic.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Eh, go ahead.
I mean, the other day I was like, man, in a sense, we're going into this Jetson, Star Trek era, minus, the, extreme. I guess at this point we would consider the extreme technology. Because if you think about it, we're already talking to, Alexa and all these other things, just like on Star Trek. Computer, do da 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 da. I mean, we're doing that right now. We're already doing it. We're doing it with our phones, but we're doing it in our cars. But people aren't really seeing that we are pretty far, ahead, and things are just going to continue to, accelerate.
Okay, guys, I appreciate the comments there in the chat. Keep those coming. I was thinking about as you were saying that I think we're going to see more of and I've talked about this, the digital friends. Okay,
Yeah.
there's a gentleman I want who lives in the DMV like us. and his whole channel is how bad dating in DC is. Okay, that's all he talks about. But and he's a younger guy. He's got to be in his 20s.
Okay.
And we started talking and about doing something. But I think we're gonna be with that becoming more and more. I've heard that some people already have digital friends. Okay, a digital buddy. So
Oh yeah.
that's gonna in some ways take away the need for, I guess, real friends and or real significant other. If you have one in your place who you could talk to and who knows you and who knows what you like and you don't like. So I think we're going to start to see more of that, digital buddies.
I'm not sure if you've noticed any of the stuff that I posted on Instagram with like bow tie guys. Man, they've been talking about this thing for definitely for a good 5+ years now.
Okay.
Yeah, more than 5+ years because it was well over 5 years. So 5 to 10 years I've been talking about that. Well, I mean, you don't have to, I mean, you're geographically you may or may not be stunted, by who was around, and online you can just congregate with people who are more like-minded or people in other groups who are, that you're either interested in or. So I mean, it's more convenient to do that. It makes sense. It's just that in my opinion, what I've been noticing, people, quote unquote higher intelligence and trying to get ahead, we've been congregating a long time ago. I mean, most people do, they're online, just socializing and supposedly dating, but those of us, when it comes to information technology, we've been swapping notes for like years. So it's like well, this is old news.
Okay.
You guys been.
I
It makes sense. It makes sense.
I'm trying to think about. I was talking to somebody over the last month, and she told me that one of her friends has a digital buddy to the point where she's kind of become not self-sufficient, but she hasn't put as much energy towards
Oh,
forming relationships outside.
physically, yeah.
Yes, because she's got this digital buddy. Go ahead.
Well, that's the issue, and the bow tie guys that were talking about, they were saying that obviously not promoting that you stay in your house all day. It's just when it comes to the best way to an efficient way to do it is you really don't have an excuse of not meeting, in a sense, some of the best people or the best minds. You can do that online, but don't get caught up in you know you know being online and forgetting that there's a physical reality. So I mean, right now, I mean, what they've been saying for the last few years, which I see is true, they've been calling it the degeneracy because that's the majority of people. So they always say, don't get caught up with what the majority of people are doing and all the degeneracy. It's just going to continue to accelerate. And of course, some people say, oh, that's being negative, but many of us we're just realists. We're just looking at things as they are and trending. We're not saying that's what we hope or what we want. We're just saying there's going to be a large group of people doing that, and we're seeing that, and it's continuing to accelerate. Now, this woman who's she has her one buddy. I mean, the issue might occur with her interacting with people in real life. That may decline. That's most likely going to decline. That's the other problem. So, I mean, this is where we are, man. I mean, I when I say these type of things, to me, I just see opportunities. You know, that's how I see things. It may sound negative to some people, but it's opportunities. Just don't get caught up in the craziness. That's all.
Yeah. Let me read some of these comments. MJ Cannabis. Okay, I'll start with this one. Slick Rick says if they aren't talking nuclear, they ain't serious. Okay, I think this is engineering cannabis because he's the only one who spells cannabis that way. Anyway, artificial womb tech will have lots of ethical laws from race, ownership of embryos, and many more. Yeah, that's gonna.
China.
Are they already doing it?
I think they're going to be the first ones. You know what I mean? Because they don't have all these laws that we have here and in many other countries in Europe. It's like people don't realize like China's like the wild wild west, man. They'll take anything. I mean, that's just the culture. And remember, it's still a communist country, so they're gonna be. I'm not gonna be surprised. They're gonna at least be the official first ones to do it.
Okay. Okay. And not South Korea. Uh, that's where the 4B movement is, right? That's the South Korea.
Is it south or north? Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's south. I think it's south. I mean, I'm sure. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it as well. But I mean, just as fast as China moves, man, and their mandates with engineers and basically people in STEM. I mean, hey, I mean, South or North Korea, it's possible. I just China's just hard to beat.
Mhm.
They don't waste time. They don't waste time.
Okay. Let's see. Black Dr. Phil says, "Peace and Ados. I'm impressed with the technology where you can put this device in your ear and it will translate any language." Okay, I'm not familiar with that one. I know you could speak to an app on your phone, and then it'll tell the other person. You can communicate to the other person by speaking to your phone and it translating. But
Yeah.
the one in your ear, I'm not familiar with that one. Slick Rick says, artificial wombs will lead to designer humans. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. CRISPR, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
because we'll be able to select specific eggs and specific sperm, and yeah. Aquateki says, America has criminally neglected its infrastructure. Lavara says education needs to improve here in the United States as well. We are way behind compared to Asian countries. Yep.
Oh yes. Yeah. Are we like? Are we in the 20s now? I mean, is that bad? I think we're in the high teens or low 20s. We're average, ranked education, K to 12. Pretty bad.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of heartburn over the new president's talk about dissolving the Department of Education, but if it's not performing, and if it's just gobbling up money and it's not performing, then
Yeah,
what option do you have left?
exactly.
Lavar says if we want to compete technologically in this country, that needs to come first. Okay, Cannabis says recently a digital friend is being sued for advising an unaliving incident. Okay, okay. Dr. Black Phil says, "Man, I love DC and DMV. Lots of beautiful, educated EWs, like 6 to 1." Yeah, I'm zipping it there. Aquateki says, "But what happens when the digital friend as a service company goes out of business? There's already a case of this playing out now with emotional support toys for kids." Dr. Black Dr. Phil says the chat GPT is scary. I've used it and sometimes I feel like it's alive. Okay. My
Wow.
brother's using it quite a bit for artwork. It's definitely a powerful tool there. I'm gonna try to start using it in 2025 for some things, but yeah, I don't. He hasn't said anything yet about it, about feeling like it's alive.
Wow.
Slick Rick says those Asian countries don't have the same freedoms, and they also don't have a religion mentally holding them back. Let's see. And then Lavar says, Slick Rick, but those Asian countries are farming tech developers, and the U.S. is farming inept social media stars.
It's the battle of the brain and of the brains and the talent. I mean, it's
Yeah,
always been that way. It's just accelerated as of late. So I mean, again, I mean, this is go back to what I've been saying the past couple of years. I'm like, listen, that's what I've been saying. It's over. mainly for the average person. I'm not saying for everybody, for the average person, because things are just going to continue to accelerate, and people are going to concentrate. Countries and small groups. That's what's happening right now. So yeah, I mean, if America was serious, the issue is it's not a, it would. The issue is what are you going to do with all these people? Because if you were to even have a chance to catch up, you would have to revamp so many things, and just so many people would be. I mean, everybody left behind, but it would be in their face that they're so far behind that
Hmm.
what would that do to them emotionally? But at the same time, what's going to happen to your country? So I mean, these are questions higher up.
Okay. Slick Rick says, I think Japan is working around the clock on artificial wombs as well. That would not surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if our government wasn't doesn't have that in the queue somewhere.
Yeah.
That would not surprise me based upon what's happening now. Lavaris says that's because the bottom of the barrel females reproduce the most children in the United States, and smart people like Doc aren't reproducing. Thank you, Slick Rick. That's very very generous of you to say that. But I mean, not just. I mean, I'm not the only case study here. I mean, other content creators and thought leaders have said that the wrong people are reproducing and the right ones aren't. But
It's a
it's
trend.
go ahead.
That's a trend.
Yeah,
Sad to say, but it's a trend.
yeah. Lavaris says humans 2.0 coming soon. And then Lavaris says, my brother used to work for Samsung, went to South Korea, and most of the factories only had one person in the factory working and machines doing everything else. That's the other thing that, these machines might be another compensatory mechanism for the declining birth rates. If the machines can do the work, then technically you don't need workers.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to what BJ said, and bringing up those topics of I don't want to forget the man's name right now, but once they call it phenomenon where once you reach this, or society reaches this quote unquote advanced stage, they just decline. The women just stop having children. Uh, yeah, which makes sense. I mean, they're very comfortable. They can go out there and work, and women are not men. They don't have this. They don't, on average, they don't get the same enjoyment or from accomplishing or from being really ambitious. They're not, women are not us. Uh, but the problem is with all these social programs now, when they get older, because they do live longer, who's going to pay for it? If you guys aren't having children to put into the system, when you get old, you know, well, then you're screwed for the most part. Or you're going to bring other people in from other countries, and well, you could potentially be screwed anyway because then now you're outnumbered. So, I mean, I mean, that's what's going on right now in this country, man. I mean, right now we're still the only country that has like a positive immigration inflow. We're the only ones. Of diverse people, put it like that. Now,
Hmm.
the issue is, as for this during this administration, the issue is the quality of the people that they were allowing in. That's a whole different. That was the issue, quality, and not being honest about it. That's the problem. So I think that's going to set us back. While China is just making moves, doing business. That's
Okay.
reality.
Let's see. Let me see. I'm gonna read a few more comments here, then we'll wrap up. Let's see. Black Dr. Phil says, what if some of our wealthy would put funding behind the Society of Black Engineers and build tech companies. I mean, we graduate Black engineers every year. The problem is we don't prioritize it. That's a complex question because those engineers are probably trained to be workers
Yes.
and not the captains of industry.
Correct.
And
Yep.
that's a different mindset.
Yep.
And so
And Doc,
go ahead.
remember, this goes back to the family structure. People are forgetting the demographics. We don't have a lot of people. We don't have a lot of people, you know, coming out, as in their late teens, early 20s, who are even prepared to be in STEM, accounting, law. We don't have enough. The funding is not the problem. We don't have a family structure that pumps out enough. We don't. So when, that's why I don't really say much when people try to bring up funding when it comes to, oh, there's not enough funding for the black kids and black. No, the funding's there. Every time, what you don't hear is these things, they do put these initiatives out, but they always fail because there aren't enough kids being funneled into the system. That's the problem. So it goes back to the family. But we don't want to have that conversation.
Yeah, the family unit is critical.
Yep.
It
Like our,
changes.
a couple months ago, our put up, the percentages of all these, professionals, basically STEM, accounting, law, and it was all single digits, mainly low single digits. I forget which one was the highest, but it was, what was it like? I don't. It might have been 8%, if that. I mean, critical mass is 20%. We're not even close. And then you're a minority in terms of numbers. Like, this is why I say what I say. I'm just a trends guy. I just look at the numbers, man. You can't. You just can't pump people out like that. It's just not going to happen. We're talking about higher level careers, professions. You're just not going to pump out. Yeah, there's going to be a small percentage who can start late. Yeah, but it's a small percentage. While the rest of the world, they're moving along. You falling behind. Because people don't, they don't seem to, I don't know, in my opinion, I don't know why it's so hard to see that. I understand that. But you try to bring, I try to bring it up, people get upset. So I don't say it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, I'm not saying I don't want to win. I don't want us to win. I'm saying the way how things are, the way things are accelerating, looking at the numbers and the trends, it is mathematically impossible unless X, Y, and Z happens. Well, if it's not going to happen, well, then, you need to move on. You as an individual. Or, you do whatever you want to do. Or what's your life? It's your life. I choose not to, personally.
Okay. Let's see. LeVar says Boston Dynamics robotic company scares me. Let's see. Slick Rick says machines taking over the work is eventually supposed to make everything cheaper and or free.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Black Dr. Phil says, I mean, we graduate black engineers from HBCUs and others every year. I mean, that's true. But if they're groomed to just go work in a company, then
it's not enough.
It's not enough. Akuteki says it all comes down to the environment for creating families. That's critical. Lavara says, serious question. What will it take for America to realize on focusing on building a two-parent household narrative? So there we're intersecting biology with culture, with biology and culture. I think I'll go first. Equalizer. There'd have to be gonna have to be a critical mass of people encouraging the nuclear family again. and all this independence thing, and all the talk of 50-50, it in our current construct, that'll have to go out the window. Well, you have to get back to a place of realism, and also, but here's the big thing: thinking about what's best for the children. Okay, not thinking about, I want to go to Dubai, I want to live my best life, I want to um no, seriously,
No,
I'm
I, no, I know. I'm laughing because it's
and
sad that it's true.
yeah, and I'm bored, I'm unfulfilled. There's going to have to be a return to thinking about what's best for the children. Go ahead.
But Doug, I mean, we just got the you know a full view on the public opinion of two people who are going into office who were talking about that. And this is not promoting them or anything like that, but they were bringing it up. But what were they saying about them? Oh, they're trying to force. They're misogynists. Oh, they're trying to force these women to blah 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 blah. See how they were twisting stuff, and they were promoting like healthy families. We need to get back to having healthy families, and they were getting blasted for that. That's
Yeah,
that's how far behind we are. Like I mean, collectively as as a country, and they're wondering why they were elected. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious.
yeah. So until you, yeah, can get back to a place where men and women aren't being pitted against each other, and that means that might require a shakedown of our institutions of higher learning to get the whole progressive thing out of there.
Well, it's so far gone in academia that I mean, the quality is overall is it's so poor. It's not even, and that's why I always call it training more so than education. You know, I mean, we can. I mean, they've noticed this thing decades ago. I mean, the average IQ for college grads has been on decline since, for I mean, like decades. I mean, this goes all the way back to like 19. I think even before 1960. I'd be nice to say 1970, but it was I believe it was 1960. I think at the prime, it was IQ was 119 for your average college grad. It's been on
Hmm.
decline for decades. So, and then you got a lot of these. Typically, what you see, what gets the academia environment is typically one of a lot of times it becomes extreme socialism, you know, and and and, and then people are, for whatever reason, there's also a lot of jealousy because now many of them feel, okay, well, I've gone through the gauntlet of getting my degree or degrees, and I'm better than you. But how is it that you make more money than me? That's not right. So you got that going on as well. So it's like, dude, like, what did you sign up for?
Hmm.
Where's the world going? Where's your country going? That's really where your mind is supposed to be, because I'm sure you have some friends who graduated and their degrees may have meant something while they were in college or right before they went to college. But by the time they got out, it didn't mean much or it didn't mean anything.
Yeah, I
That's
think
reality.
I think Slick Rick is getting to this when he says, in general, I don't think Black people who have in-demand degrees in engineering fields have problems finding work.
Oh no.
Black Dr. Phil says, I hold a PhD in school psychology. Working with youth is my bread and butter. The desire to get into technology is there. And then he says, I agree. This is to Slick Rick. I agree. We need a behavioral shift to ownership. The techies can collaborate with our business majors. And then Slick Rick says again, Black people with an in-demand engineering degree, with in-demand engineering degrees, don't have issues getting work unless they live in an area where the job market is limited. And then LeVar says many people getting degrees are more focused on status than societal contribution as a whole. Okay. I don't. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Yeah, there's so many directions we can go in with that one, but I'm gonna go ahead and wind this down, Salchi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say about any of this?
No, in my opinion, it was a good stream. I mean, you know, me personally, I'm excited for the future. I am. You know, as you know, as things are, even though in the state that we're in, you know, it's just a perspective, man. And are you willing to do what it takes? You know, are you, you know, paying attention to what's going on around the world and what's going on, you know, domestically and even, you know, where you are, and are you willing to really look in the mirror at yourself and really see what may or may not be holding you back? You know, I mean, these are things you got to constantly do. It's like life is work, man. I don't, I don't understand why people think life is like supposed to be this, like you're supposed to be like on cloud nine or you know, I guess surfing on. But you know, it's constant work, man. This life is constant work.
It's constant
That's what
work.
it is. So I'm excited.
Okay. Aquateki, thank you for the generous cash app. I always appreciate your support over here. For that, I'm going to play one of your greetings.
Roger me, welcome me, anything. Hello, hello, Earth.
For those of you who don't know, Aquatechi's avatar is Jazz from the original Autobots and the Transformers, voiced
Yes, sir.
by Scatman Crothers. All right. All right. Well, Salchi, hey, man, Happy New Year.
Same to you.
I look forward to linking up again in 2025, digitally and in person.
Yeah, just let me know when you're ready.
All right. All right. So I'll talk to you.
All right.
All right, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and wind this down. So, as I just told Salchi, Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you for hanging out here in the chat tonight. And thank you to everyone who comes and who has supported the channel since I started it, but also on Saturday mornings, on Sunday mornings, and those of you who donate, thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, look for more content in 2025. And yeah, guests. Yeah, guests. I have one in particular that I want to bring in. I want to bring in a Theo to talk about coding at a high level because I'll get confused talking about it because I'm not a coder. I'm a biological scientist. I'm a regulatory scientist with a biological background. So look for that. And thank you again, everyone. Stay safe out there on New Year's Eve. And I'll see you in 2025. So with that, please like, share, and subscribe. And with that, hey, Akoteki said it. Oh, Lavara said, I'm in Theo's class. He's good. Yeah, you know what? Before I go, I know that Theo is pretty big. Sometimes the light bulb turns on at random times for me in terms of why things are done and why things are being done. And it just dawned on me that I know that part of his mission is to help Black men get certified in these aspects of coding, but there's a need for that because none of the initiatives out there are currently designated for Black men. Okay, there are tech initiatives for Black women and Black girls, and there's nothing wrong with Black women and Black girls becoming certified in coding, but there's almost, to my knowledge, again, I'm a biological scientist, there's almost nothing for Black men in terms of that. So Theo is doing God's work, quote unquote. Also, rest in power, President Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter died at 100 years of age. So rest in power, Jimmy Carter. He was the president when I was born. I just dated myself. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Lavaris. Yeah, if you think about the Goldman Sachs initiative back in 2020, the was it Google the Google initiative back in 2020. Where are all of the initiatives that are focusing on just Black men and boys? So Theo is doing God's work right now. All right, everybody, please like, share, subscribe. Let me slow down and pronounce my words. Please like, share, and subscribe. My Cash App and PayPal are below in the description box if you want to make a donation to the channel. My book is available on Amazon. The Engineers of Western New York Basketball Story. Let me slow down. The Engineers of Western New York Basketball Story Part 1, Innocent Basketball Dreams. It's available on ebook, hardcover, and paperback. And if you want to sign up for my newsletter, the link for my newsletter is in the description box as well. Now that I will have bandwidth back, I should start writing those again since I'm paying for the service. Oh, also, yes, thank you, Lavaris. Rest in peace, Mr. Greg Gumbel. Rest in peace, Greg Gumbel, as well. Rest in power. And with that, once again, everyone, Happy New Year. See you all on the other side. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. And also, live long and prosper. Take care.